Bear Independent Brief, 22 August 25. This one's a little different than what you're used to. And stick around, we've got the bonus intel at the end of this. Costs are continuing to squeeze budgets with no end yet in sight, but there's a much larger crisis building on the horizon. More than 4 million baby boomers will hit 80 in the next 5 years, creating what one industry expert calls a demographic tsunami. That sounds fun. Quote, "We never had a population pyramid that looks like this," end quote. Eric Morton, chief executive of NICMAP, has said. Quote, "The senior housing industry would need to develop twice as many units as it has ever developed in any single calendar year, every year, just to keep up," end quote. The math is brutal. Current development rates will produce just 191,000 new senior housing units by 2030, falling drastically short of the 560,000 needed. That sounds like an economic opportunity to me. Not for BlackRock, for you. Meanwhile, demand growth requires 100,000 new beds each year through 2040, but developers are only building about 4,000 new units annually. High interest rates and construction costs have essentially frozen new development, leaving a massive gap between supply and what's needed. This shortage is driving costs into the stratosphere. Average rents at a senior living facility are already hitting $12,000 per month, though that includes utilities, food, and care services. That's insane. Most residents are covering those costs by selling their homes, but this strategy only works if property values hold up and families have built equity. For the millions of Americans who haven't been as fortunate in the housing market, options are becoming increasingly limited. I would remind us that we have a biblical command to forsake not the widow and the orphan. And we're supposed to honor our mother and father. And I know many of us have had mothers and fathers that weren't good people, but without them, physiologically, you would not exist. You can rightly divide that between your mom, your dad, yourself, and the creator of the universe. The wealth disparity among boomers tells the real story. While this generation holds 2/3 of America's $150 trillion in household wealth, that money isn't spread evenly. A record 11.2 million seniors, about 1 in 3, are already spending more than 30% of their income on housing, according to Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies. Homelessness among older populations is rising, and government assistance programs have years-long waiting lists. I wonder if that's why some psychopath invented a thing somewhere around the 2019 era. You remember that? And then they basically mandated that all peoples had to do things. Remember that? It's almost like there's a global coordinated effort to depopulate. The ripple effects are already hitting the workforce. Some 37 million Americans are spending around 4 hours daily caring for older relatives, often while raising their own children. This sandwich generation strain is becoming a major driver of employee turnover as people struggle to balance work with family caregiving responsibilities. Quote, "There's like a tsunami of people coming into Medicare," end quote. Second time that word was used, second witness, warned former CVS Health CEO Karen Lynch. Quote, "That's going to put pressure on the entire healthcare system," end quote. I hope they do not push for further federalized healthcare, but hope is not a strategy. Also of note, my wife's 88-year-old grandmother lives on property with us, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. It's actually been a wonderful thing. So there are ways to make this happen. By 2034, America will have more residents over 65 than under 18 for the first time in history. Well, that's 9 years away based upon the current trend. So, gentlemen, ladies, in your reproductive years, get busy. Do the things. It's fun if you do it right. I know children are expensive. How do I know? I have 4 of them. I am literally changing diapers while planning a wedding right now. I get it. However, I have never been more me until I had kids. You want to talk about being a fully actualized male? Everybody talks about, I would die for my family. Yeah, but would you live for them, asshole? Would you be the full you that the Father created you to be? For them? As the priest of your home? As the leader of your little tribe of people? Do it. It's awesome. If your parents didn't do it, you wouldn't be here. By 2034, America will have more residents over 65 than under 18 for the first time in history. A person turning 65 today has a nearly 70% chance of needing long-term care, but paying for that care is ruinously expensive, and seniors only qualify for Medicaid assistance when they have, quote, almost no assets left. The promised great wealth transfer from boomers to younger generations may not materialize as expected, since many older Americans are spending their savings on their own care rather than preserving inheritances. Meanwhile, economic pressures are hitting American families hard, with tariffs, weather disruptions, and supply chain issues driving costs through the roof. Quote, it will only be a matter of time before producers pass their higher tariff-related costs onto the backs of inflation-weary customers, warned Christopher Repke, key economist of FWD Bonds. Sure enough, U.S. wholesale inflation jumped 0.9% in July, the biggest increase in over 3 years, suggesting that producers are starting to pass tariff-related costs down to consumers. The numbers show that wholesale vegetable prices surged 38% in July alone, marking the biggest month-to-month price spike for any product category, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And of course, we know immigration crackdowns are making things worse, causing labor shortages in agriculture, driving prices even higher. Quote, a lot of the product is being lost because there's nobody to work. So it's the product that has been picked has been raised maybe 35 to 40%, end quote, explained Jamie DeSalles of Tri-County Produce. Bonus intel. Assuming it will load on my telephone. In the meanwhile, here we are. Intel at bearindependent.com. Intel at bearindependent.com. Email intel at bearindependent.com if you would like your intel, which is not, Bear, you need to watch this video, or Bear, did you listen to this podcast, or Bear, I need you to read this article. It's not that. It's what are you seeing with your own eyes? What are you hearing with your own ears? What are you experiencing in your own life that you think is pertinent to the Bear Nation? Pass that to intel at bearindependent.com. First, these are all quotes. I'm not going to say quote over and over again. Please keep this sourcing anonymous. 13 August 25, around 1700, Sun was traveling between Nashville, Tennessee, and Indianapolis, Indiana, heading northbound on I-65. Just south of Bowling Green was passed by a large convoy including around 11 15-passenger vans, one bus, between 20 to 30 civilian vehicles, all fully occupied by individuals in uniform traveling at a high rate of speed. Some was going 80 and they passed an estimated 90-plus miles an hour. None of the vehicles had any identifying markings, and multi-passenger vans were a variety of colors, estimates around 200 personnel and various vehicles. About 30 minutes later, a convoy of 10 to 15 desert tan Oshkosh Hemmets carrying large angular cargo fully concealed in tarps with 3 Humvee escort vehicles passed northbound, although not at the same extreme rate of travel as the personnel convoy. All right. Do I know what's happening here? No. Do I have a guess, though? Because I get a lot of reports like this every summer, and I observe a lot of reports like this every summer, and that's because the DoD runs exercises every summer, and in order to run exercises, they have to move manpower and materiel. People power. Sorry, let me be inclusive, ladies. They have to move people and equipment in order to run these exercises. After passing through Louisville, Kentucky, another convoy of 10 to 13 MRAP vehicles, half of the vehicles were desert tan, half were black, because they have what they have. Also, with 3 Humvee escorts were observed being transported southbound on I-65. Roughly 20 minutes later, desert tan Abrams tanks, followed by 3 military-wheeled bulldozers, all being transported southbound on 65. We've been talking about some national events and the fact that where we live is likely the staging area for the National Guard troops in Alabama, when he asked if there was something else going on and provided the info on the vehicles and personnel movements he had observed. Next, I work adjacent to Dulles Airport, separated only by a chain link fence and trees. Around 11:45 Wednesday on the 13th, I heard what sounded like a very angry jet taking off abnormally close to my shop. Definitely not the normal traffic I'm accustomed to hearing all day, every day. Not long after, I heard it again and made it outside to see the silhouette of a fighter jet disappear into the clouds in the northeast. The third time I heard it, I made it outside in time to pull out my phone and watch an F-15, 100% certain it was an F-15, rise above the tree line, bank hard, and haul ass north. Tried to get a video of the third one, but my phone screen just kept spinning in circles like I was rotating the phone. Coincidence? Either 3 jets were scrambled from the airport, or one did 3 passes low enough to stay below the tree line while over the airport. All this happened in the span of maybe 5 to 10 minutes. The whole time this was happening, and for about an hour afterwards, there was non-mil helo hovering directly above the airport. A friend reported that ADSB showed no flights going out, only landing at this airport along with a few others on the East Coast. There was also a helo on ADSB making laps over Reagan National at the same time. I haven't seen anything reported on this anywhere yet, but it definitely got my attention. Anonymous for reasons. You're good, Anon. Also, personal intel. Yesterday, in the county that I live in, many explosions were heard. Now, I monitor the law enforcement frequencies around here, and it was really interesting to hear dispatchers contacting Fort Smith military base, asking if they had any aircraft in the sky and if people were hearing sonic booms. And the answer from the base was, no, we have no aircraft in the air. We've had no aircraft in the air today. To which one officer then asked on the radio, what's that helicopter over there then? And they're like, whose helicopter is that? Where is that? Then you start doing some OSINT, and it turns out that multiple explosions that were large enough for people to feel the shock waves and to hear occurred throughout the state of Oklahoma yesterday. I have no clarity on what that was or why, but it's also possible that they were sonic booms, but they were not aircraft that flew out of Fort Smith. There's many military bases in and around Oklahoma, and there's many aircraft that can fly that fast to have that effect that aren't going to file a flight plan. So I have no idea what happened, although it's very interesting. Next, I didn't know where else I could send it, so I thought I would send it here. I just wanted to say thank you for all that you do and all the free information you provide, both physically and spiritually. A couple weeks ago, a woman in the town where I live put up a Facebook post about her husband who had gone missing on Thursday evening. He's not in a good state of mind and didn't plan on coming home. He was a 9/11 Ground Zero hero who battled some hefty demons from it. Due to heavy rain, law enforcement had been no help in the first 24 hours. She put up a post late Friday night. Most people didn't see it until Saturday morning, but I had to work Saturday, so there was not much I could do, and no large-scale SR had been initiated, search and rescue. I started my normal Sunday morning routine watching a church service live on YouTube while getting dressed to leave, while wrestling for 20 minutes with the thought of needing to go help look due to very, very limited information other than a general location of the last known location. I could not shake the deep feeling that I needed to go, and I kept hearing you say, be the hands and feet of the Most High, over and over again. It just wouldn't let me go, so I jumped in the truck, drove to the location, and found the wife and 5 others with her. She began to explain to me when I told her reading the post is what made me know where to go, and she kept repeating that she didn't know what to do, and this was like looking for a needle in a haystack. That's when it clicked. I have zero experience in search and rescue, but thanks to watching your videos for the past few years, I started applying what I knew to get things going. I had her put out another post with time and location for people to meet and do an actual search and rescue for the individual. We had about 20 show up that morning to do the first walk with 3 local side-by-sides that showed up. By 1 o'clock, estimates were over 150 with another 40 UTVs, wow, from as much as an hour and a half away, as well as SAR teams from 4 hours away and search dogs. I was asked to pray for all there, and then we got to work. Needless to say, my neighbor and another friend just ahead of me stumbled upon him as we were heading back towards the meetup spot that evening. I know that being obedient led to his finding and the family getting closure. Humble doesn't describe how I feel. I spent multiple days that week crying my eyes out because, why me? I'm literally nobody. I'm just glad I could be of service, and it was an overwhelming feeling. Just a reminder to me that the Father uses who He will, and all glory be to Him. Your info is priceless, so please keep it up as long as you can. Thank you again for all you do. and blessings to you all. Yeah, praise the Most High. All it takes is being willing to be used. I'm glad you found him. It sounds like you found somebody who's no longer here, and I'm sorry that the family is dealing with that. This should be a lesson to everybody. You can just do stuff. You should just do stuff. And it's always, in my experience, with everything that we've done with Grindstone, with everything that we do with Caleb House, it's always just normal little people that have the most positive effect. It's not the government, even at the local level, which is the government that we're all closest to. It's not the government, it's the normal people that get stuff done, that have a meaningful impact. So good job. That's the show for today. Stay tuned for long-form commentary. Make sure to check out refugemedical.com for American-made, guaranteed forever first aid kits. We just surpassed order number 50,000. Not a fly-by-night company, not a gimmick. We're just getting started. If you need anything, hit the website, refugemedical.com. Shoot us an email, call the store, use the chat function on the website. We're here to serve you however we can. We've got 2 more public upcoming classes. We've got a 2-day class, the Essential Responder, in October, and a 3-day Train the Trainer class that does require prereqs in November. I'll see you guys when I see you. Long-form commentary coming next.